Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the podcast. This is your host, Gabe Gabrielson, and you're listening to the Information Zone. I am sorry, guys, but I had to take a brief hiatus. I used to have a hiatus once, but they lowered it. Anyway, I took a brief hiatus because I was actually working the campaign trail. I was one of the campaign managers for Pete Buttigieg. And since he has dropped out and he's no longer in the presidential race, I am now free to go back to my podcast. And we will miss Pete Buttigieg. And growing up in Vermont, you would think that I was a Bernie Sanders supporter, but that actually is not the case. I am much of a Pete Buttigieg fan, simply because we actually attended college together. We both went to Harvard, where we actually dormed together for a short period of time, and that's actually where I got to know Pete Buttigieg. We actually had a game we would play in our dorm room, where we would actually go down on each other's buttholes for quite some time, and it would go back and forth. And I think maybe I was the one who actually turned Pete Buttigieg gay, even though I myself am not gay. It just happened to be to come out that way. But good for him, and I wish him the best of luck. And we actually had an old joke in the on the campaign trail. It was what's better than a kiss from Pete Buttigieg, or Mayor Pete as we call him? What's better than a kiss from Mayor Pete? The answer, a blowjob from Mayor Pete. You see, because he's gay. You get it? Well, anyway. So I guess the candidates now are Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and Joe Biden, blah. And Mike Bloomberg, although he's really kind of fading at this point. I guess it's really kind of up to Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. I don't think Elizabeth Warren is going to gain any more traction. In fact, she may even lose her home state of Massachusetts tomorrow on Tuesday. And she's quite a mess. She actually reminds me of Hillary Clinton a lot in a way. Here's another joke we told on the Buttigieg campaign trail. It was, let me see if I can get this right. You ready? What's the difference between Hillary Clinton and Elizabeth Warren? And the answer is. Hold on, let me make sure I get this right in my head. Elizabeth Warren. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Let me try again. What's the main difference between Hillary Clinton and Elizabeth Warren? One of them is... hold on, let me try this again. What's the difference between Elizabeth... No, let me try one more time. What's the main difference between Hillary Clinton and Elizabeth Warren? The answer is one of them regularly blows Bill Clinton, and the other one is Hillary Clinton. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. So I guess... yes, it's between Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden at this point. And Joe Biden will probably get caught molesting someone in a broom closet and not remember why he's in there. And Bernie will take it. And then we will have Trump for another 4 years because no one wants to elect a fascist communist. You see, I'm all for the free market, and I don't believe in communism or democratic socialism, as they will have you believe it is, when really, in fact, it's a guise on the American people to take money from the working class and funnel it through government channels and eventually make the country bankrupt and that's kind of the long and short of it. Bernie Sanders hates America. Um, anyway, coronavirus seems to be spreading. It is getting more and more rampant. It seems that have been a few deaths in the United States. Um, yeah, and I mean, I don't know what to think of it. I was actually out buying elbow macaroni and toilet paper from the supermarket the other day, and I ran into a friend of mine, and he was out doing the same, much of the same, although he was buying thin spaghetti and paper towel. But he said, yes, I'm stocking up for the coronavirus, and that way I won't have to leave my house, and in case something happens, I can just shut myself in and eat my spaghetti and wipe my ass with paper towel. And indeed, I intend to do the same, except I don't know why he would want to wipe his ass with paper towel when there was plenty of toilet paper left. Maybe he has a bit of a rugged asshole, more rugged than mine per se, because if I were to wipe my ass with paper towel, I would end up with extreme piles, and it would not be favorable for me. And then also in the news, it appears that Tom Brady, the Thomas Brady, may be actually going to a different, maybe going to a different team. After all, he was at the Syracuse game this weekend with Julian Edelman, and Julian said, "He's coming back. He's coming back." And Tom kind of looked at him painstakingly and looked kind of irritated, and he looking at him, and Jimmy Fallon's on the other side, and he's looking in like, "Oh, this is fun." And Tom Brady eventually he says, "No, he's not." So I would take that as Brady is not coming back, and being a Vermonter, I'm actually much a Patriots fan. So we will probably end up with someone like Marcus Mariota or I don't know. I mean, really, no one's going to be better than Thomas Brady, and actually, no one's going to be more handsome than Thomas Brady. So that will be a tough pill to swallow. And that's about all that's going on in the news. I can't think of. We've got the presidential debates, we've got coronavirus, and we've got Tom Brady. So yes, the three most important topics in our world today. And that's about it. I would like to welcome in, he's actually here in studio, our first guest that we've had in quite a while, because, like I said, I took a hiatus. And today's guest is actually Bill Peacock. He was a stage performer. He used to perform in many of the Broadway plays that you may have heard of. I mean, if you will call yourself a what do you call it? A purveyor of fine arts, a cultural person, then you will have heard of Bill Peacock, and you have heard of these plays. The first one is Dancing with Gay Dragons, and then he also appeared in Rocks for Sale, and the other one was The Computer Guru. So, without further hesitation, let's welcome Bill Peacock. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Peacock. Gabe, how's it going? It's going quite well. Good. I'm glad to be here. Oh, good, Bill. Would you like to talk to us a little bit about your Broadway experience and how long you've actually been on the road? Because it seems like you're just getting back from a long tour. Yes, I'm actually getting back from the tour of Rocks for Sale. We were out for 16 months straight. And on the way, I lost a lot of hair, and I gained a few white hairs, so it was quite stressful, you know. Yes, I do believe that can be stressful. Now, did you happen to run into any other famous actors, or do you have any cool stories you could tell us from your time on tour? Well, you know, I did run into Ben Stiller, and he's a good guy. we talked for a while and smoked a few cigarettes. He actually does smoke. And, oh, wow, so Ben Stiller is a smoker. Yeah, he's a big smoker. He likes Newports. He's a big smoker. Oh, I see. Is there anything else you can tell us about Ben Stiller? Yeah. So when we were in the dressing room, Ben had a case of diarrhea. This was in the dressing room for Rocks for Sale. And one of the props in the dressing room was a bucket of rocks, because as you get it, Rocks for Sale, right? So Ben had diarrhea bad. He goes in the dressing room, and he takes a shit in the bucket of rocks. The bucket of rocks, it's labeled Rocks for Sale on the bucket, because that's what the play's called, Rocks for Sale. Yes, this sounds quite disturbing. It was quite disturbing, and I was in the dressing room with him. So he shits in the rock bucket. The stage manager comes along, and he's grabbing all the rock buckets, and he's ordering the play people to put the rock buckets on the stage. Get ready for the play. We're on in 5. So the rock buckets, the one with the shit, is going on the stage. Oh, dear, this is quite disturbing. It was disturbing. And the bucket goes on stage, and we come out, we do our regular set, and in the play, there's this guy, and I'm not going to give away too much of the play because I don't want to spoil it, but he's pouring the buckets of rocks in his lap so he can look over them. Rocks for Sale. You know what I mean? So it gets to the Ben Stiller bucket full of his diarrhea and excrement, and the guy pours it onto his lap in the middle of a Broadway play, Rocks for Sale. Oh my God, that is quite disgusting. Bill, what did the audience do? What happened? Well, thankfully the audience didn't notice, but Ben and I noticed, and I was fine with it, but for some reason, Ben started gagging and then started puking on the stage. Rocks for Sale! Oh my God. And so what happened? Well, we had to call the play off, and that one was cut short. But other than that, it was a good tour. Oh, okay. Well, interesting. So Ben Stiller had a bit of a case of diarrhea, and then some of the vomits. Yeah, he had the vomits on Rocks for Sale. Okay. That's a fascinating story, and I would love to hear more. And unfortunately, today we're actually cutting quite short on time just because I have to wrap up a few documents for the Pete Buttigieg campaign trail. And we'll be back tomorrow for a new podcast, a new episode of The Information Zone with Gabe Gabrielson. And I look forward to spending more time with you since I'm off the trail, as they say in the business, you know. I'm off the trail. Yes. So thank you, Bill, for coming by. You're welcome. And if you want to go see my plays, they're, yes, when are they coming up? When can we, I'm doing a tour in April of all the theaters in New York, and then we're going to Chicago, so it's going to be a fun time. We're doing Rocks for Sale, and a new one, actually. It's called Butterflies by the Throat. Oh, Butterflies by the Throat? Yes, Butterflies by the Throat. That's what it's called. I can't give away too much, but come see it in April. Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Bill. Thank you, Gabe. And have a good trip. Have a good performance, or a good cluster of performances. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the podcast. I hope you enjoyed The Information Zone with Gabe Gabrielson. This is episode number 6, and I hope to be coming back and doing more of them with you in the future. Thank you.